Bro, can you drink any louder? Christ. This is a clusterfuck of bullshit. Hey, fucking finally! God damn! Thin ice, Rumble. Give me a moment to fucking get undiscombobulated and shit. Holy fuck! You know what? Fuck it. We're just gonna do live. Okay. So today we have news. This one is Trump news. Tariffs, Canada, Mexico, Zelenskyy, Musk updates. Blah 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 blah. Sweeping 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada will begin Tuesday, Trump said. The Democratic senator calls Trump's White House an arm of the Kremlin after Zelenskyy spat. Hang on. Jesus fucking Christ. Can't talk, can't stream, can't figure out my ass from my elbow. What the fuck? Okay. Anyway, where were we? Skip this bullshit forward. As long as it's the same bullshit. Anyway, where are we at? Come on. Ah, there we are. Okay. President Donald Trump announced that the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, the world's largest chip manufacturer, will invest $100 billion in the U.S. to build new facilities and bring in jobs. Yay, jobs. I need one of those. Been needing one of those. And it's in Yay, Zona. I live in Zona. Need it. In a press conference on Monday afternoon, Trump said TSMC plans to build facilities in Arizona and bring approximately 20,000 jobs to the U.S. Fuck yeah. Good paying American jobs, making good shit like semiconductors, which we absolutely need to distance ourselves from relying so heavily on Taiwan or, real China. And yeah, it's part of an effort to amp up domestic semiconductor manufacturing so the U.S. is less reliant on foreign imports, which we learned why you don't want to rely on foreign imports all that much when the whole pandemic thing happened. Kind of good to be able to make your own stuff if, shit goes left. In a press conference on Monday afternoon, he said, I already got that part. Since taking office, Trump is determined to crack down on the U.S.'s reliance on foreign imports through tariffs. Also good. He said sweeping 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada imports would begin Tuesday. Though they were initially postponed in February, Trump said there was no room left for negotiations with the countries. Share prices began to tank, ending the day significantly down. Blah, blah, blah. Buy the dip. Not financial advice. I'm a retard living in the middle of the desert in his mom's garage. I guess if that's appealing to you and you want to emulate that, fine, whatever. Free country. I'm not going to tell you how to live, but, yeah, not financial advice. Also on Monday, Trump announced on Truth Social that he plans to enact tariffs on external agricultural products beginning on April 2nd. He did not specify what products he would include. This arrives in conjunction with tariffs on steel, aluminum, pharmaceuticals, and more. Gotta incentivize making it here, because right now it's just too profitable to make them elsewhere, ship them in, take the shipping costs, because you just save so much on labor. I think that's how globalized markets work, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. White House seeks plan for possible Russia sanctions relief, report says. Reuters reports that the U.S. is developing a plan to potentially grant Russia sanctions relief as President Donald Trump aims to restore relations with Moscow and halt the war in Ukraine, according to U.S. official and another individual familiar with the situation. Yay! Finally, the lefty lunatics have a single piece of evidence where you could make the case that Donald Trump is an asset of Putin. Congratulations! Yay! Clapter! Or fucking idiots. White House has instructed the State and Treasury departments to create a list of sanctions that could be relaxed, not will be, but could, for U.S. officials to discuss with Russian representatives in the coming days as part of the administration's overarching discussions with Moscow on improving diplomatic and economic relations. According to sources, the sanctions offices are preparing a proposal to lift sanctions on selected entities and individuals, including several Russian oligarchs. Gotta keep them Russian oligarchs in good caviar. Am I right? I'm right. Always right. So-called options papers are often prepared by officials working on sanctions, but the White House's recent specific requests for one emphasizes Trump and his advisors' readiness to ease Russian sanctions as part of potential agreement with Moscow. Which, I mean, we want to end the war. World War III is not appealing. To all the people who say Russia is evil and must be stopped at all costs, and Zelenskyy can do no wrong, and Donald Trump, how dare you raise your voice to President of Ukraine, a country that I can't even find on a map. How dare you raise your voice to such a regal person? Like, fucking anybody who wants to support the war can, I'm working with a couple of the other Kyles on this to put together a GoFundMe and spread awareness of it to fund the tickets for anybody who supports the Russian, or who supports U.S. involvement in the war, to get a one-way ticket to Ukraine and go put some fucking action to your words. Go, the one condition for funding such an adventure is that they don't come back until the war is over. And that they fight it. Like, when I was a kid, the left was anti-war. I was accused of being a bleeding heart and a lunatic lefty and this, that, and the other. And, I haven't changed a bit. Still just the same anti-war person. Still just the same people over profits. Like, focus on ethics. Focus on doing what's right. Focus on duty. Focus on, just leaving the world a better place. It's not hard. Watching friends, older brothers and sisters, parents, cousins, uncles, whatever, ship out to Iraq and Afghanistan for literally fucking nothing was formative. And most of them came back, but some didn't. All of them came back different. And so anybody who's calling for this fucking war to continue because, oh, nasty, mean, evil Putin, man. Like, Putin's not a good dude. Putin's kind of a piece of shit. I got news for you. Most world leaders are. This is the state of things. We can crow about wanting things to be nicer. We can crow about things how they should be, but that ain't gonna do fuck all for how they is. And how they is how they is. No sense in fighting it. Try to make it better. Recognize the reality of it. Don't fucking... This shit with fucking Zelenskyy is driving me nuts. Let's see, where were we? Remains unclear what Washington might specifically seek in exchange for any sanctions relief. Oliver O'Connell, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. White House announces theme of Trump's Tuesday address to Congress. White House officials have told Fox Digital News that Donald Trump's speech to Congress on Tuesday night will be themed The Renewal of the American Dream. I bet the fucking leftist that is coming up with the "you saying go back to sleep" joke is patting himself on the back and sucking his own cock right now like something fierce. Take your victory lap, dude. You're not that clever. It's the first time I've read this article, but that was my first thought. In fact, one brief moment. Just got to show something off. It's somewhat relevant. Waking Up from the American Dream was an article that I had just recently posted on my Substack. It's about being critical of oneself, recognizing realities around you, and what to do with all that. If you want to read stuff, read stuff. Episode 6, Return of the Orange Guy, is a recap of last week's work on this here IRL shitpost, or whatever you want to call it. Well researched, sourced, bit long, but whatevs. I'm quite proud of that Photoshop job I did, but it's a bit long, but you'll get through it. Anyway, back to this. Renewal of the American Dream. Love it. USA, USA. Picket fence, house, keeping up with the Joneses, all that good shit. Barbecues on Memorial Day, Labor Day. Fuck yeah. The speech will feature 4 main sections, according to Fox. Accomplishments from Trump's second term thus far at home and abroad. What the Trump administration has done for the economy. The president's renewed push for Congress to pass additional funding for border security. And the president's plans for peace around the globe. Which, first term is any indication here. I like it because we got Abraham Accords. We had drawdowns and an end to the Afghanistan war that was ultimately botched in our withdrawal because somebody wanted to move it to 9/11, I believe, if I remember correctly. Do you wonder who that could have been? But got out, so I'll take a W where I can get it. And then I'm reminded of the first inklings of what I really wrote about in that paper. And actually, I didn't even mention it in the article, but Trump's ordering of all of our troops out of Syria at the end of his first term, only to find out that the command had been ignored by the people responsible for enacting it, suggesting a deeper rot within the ranks of not just government, but also our military, which is concerning. President Trump has accomplished more in 1 month than any president in 4 years, and the renewal of the American Dream is well underway. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told Fox News Digital. Yeah, I'd say he's done, he's done a fair bit. He's also gotten cock-blocked a fair bit by the courts. So, for what that's worth. President Trump, in his joint address to Congress, President Trump will celebrate his extraordinarily successful first month in office while outlining his bold, ambitious, and common-sense vision for the future. We'll be covering the speech live here tomorrow night, along with reaction and fact-checking. Ooh, idea for tomorrow's stream. That's where I'll be if I can actually get the stream running, because Rumble wanted to be a bitch. Just playing Rumble, I love you. CNN refutes Rogan Musk conspiracy theory about Trump assassination attempt. That the network had prior knowledge about the attempt on Trump's life, prompting channel to air live coverage. During the campaign rally, the wild theory was quickly picked up by conservative and MAGA media personalities who wondered whether CNN was tipped off that a shooting would take place and that the network should be subject to an investigation. I mean, if they did no wrong. Isn't that the line that, like, we the people always get all the time? If you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to fear. What's a little investigation between friends, CNN, huh? Thought you were turning over a new leaf. Don't you want to prove it? Prove it. Prove it. Let's see, Senate voting to confirm McMahon. Okay, and the rest just... there we go. Where's that one? Economists at Washington conference express alarm about potential impact of Trump tariffs. The economists were attending the National Association for Business Economics conference. Directionally, we should be expecting higher inflation and slower growth. I don't know about that. I get that you're an expert, sir, but I'm going to need Show me your work. Recent studies by the Federal Reserve in Washington and the Fed's Boston branch have estimated that Trump tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China would raise consumer prices by about 0.5 to 0.8 percentage points within a year. While modest, such an increase would likely be enough to keep inflation notably higher than the Fed's 2% target and would likely delay any further interest rate cuts by the central bank. Okay. It's a far cry from the swinging by 4 or 5%. Like, what was the peak during Biden years? Just, on the heels of the whole COVID thing and the bailouts and all that jazz. Both Fed studies find that the impact of tariffs on so-called intermediate goods, electronic components, steel parts, computer chips would play critical, if less visible role in pushing up prices. And see, that's the whole thing. You have, computer chips are gonna what was the first thing that we read here? I believe it was something to do with TSMC coming to the USA in my state here in Arizona. We're gonna make our own chips and pay our own workers. And as it stands, this chips, it's Taiwan, it's real China with like some concern for human rights. So there's a decent chance that the actual price of them on the other end is competitive just facially. With tariffs, we might supplant Taiwan as that producer. Like, it's a very real possibility. I love this prognostication that these people do as if to say that any future prediction is going to be accurate to a degree worthy of even covering. Idiots. Trump turns on Starmer and allies in new Ukraine tirade, even as Prime Minister insists U.S. is vital to peace deal. In what could be a major setback in ending Russia's war on Ukraine, U.S. President Trump launched a tirade just as Prime Minister was on his feet in the Commons, insisting America was vital, sincere, and indispensable in the path to peace. Sir Keir rejects calls from MPs for Britain to shun Trump and America after last week's extraordinary ambush on Mr. Zelenskyy in the White House Oval Office. Now let's break that down for a second. I want to talk about that because throughout the Biden years, when Zelenskyy would come hat in hand asking for money to fight big meanie China, because China stole his lunch money and he needs more for his nose beers, he would give a different accounting of events to the media in public next to Biden, and then Biden, being the old, confused, dumb old man, would just, whereas he tried to pull the same shit with Trump and J.D. Vance this week or last week, and it didn't go so well for him. Because negotiations had already been rough up to that point, if I recall correctly, and it seemed like the focus was on the minerals, and then Zelenskyy wants to go in front of all the cameras. I'm assuming he'd want to go in front of the cameras because they reached a deal, not because he wanted to cry about, give me money even though I'm not going to give you anything out of our ground. Like, no, dude. Fucking how many billions of dollars have we already given Ukraine, and for what? Nothing? Inflame tensions here at home, inching us closer to World War III with Russia. It's ridiculous. And so he has his little fucking melty on national TV, and everybody's like, bro, like, who the fuck are you to tell us pay up, or bro, just fuck off. Anyway, that's my opinions on that one. Donald Trump said on Monday there is nothing that can be done to prevent him from unilaterally enacting a 25% tax on anything Americans purchase that has been imported from Canada or Mexico tomorrow, out of a mistaken belief that foreign countries pay tariffs rather than importers and consumers. So this is technically correct, um, but it misses the point and misses the basic functions of economics, because what happens is US places 25% tariff on goods coming in from Canada. Canadian retailers wanting to retain access to the American markets now have to make a choice. Do we pass all 25% onto the American people, charging them the entirety of their tariff, and make our prices go up by 25%? Or does the producer eat some of the cost, take smaller profits on it, pay a portion of it, and then recoup some of that by having the customer carry the other portion, however they decide to split it? And so, while technically correct that the framing, I think, is wrong. It's not a mistaken belief. It is a belief that there are market fundamentals in regards to prices and what a market will bear in order for somebody to stay in that market. But that's what tariffs are aimed to do. They are aimed at increasing domestic production, protecting American production from imports that make use of slave labor and other unsavory practices like China. Another big one's pollution, where if we had to manufacture what we buy from China here, we would be dealing with we would be dealing with the costs of damage to our environment. And there are clean ways to do this, but they cost more. And so people choose to go with manufacturing in China because they have lax standards on such things. And that ends up doing two things. It ends up not actually addressing the pollution concern whatsoever and just hiding it from view. Your NIMBY argument, not in my backyard. And then you also stifle the solutions to make cost-effective pollution control by incentivizing old ways of doing things that are damaging. Because if all of a sudden it became 25% more expensive to buy some polluting garbage product from China, we can look into doing it here, look into developing technology to offset or reduce the harm to the environment so we're within compliance of our environmental codes here, pay our workers a living wage. And what ends up happening is we can make a cheaper, or maybe not a cheaper, but a better product that is overall better, and maybe even the same price point or around the same price point. But it gets the Chinese price so high that it's no longer just the bottom of the barrel. Like, if you've ever bid on contracts or seen how contracts are bid, right? Where there's a job that needs to be done, and somebody's got a contract detailing the work, and they say, how much do we need to pay various contractors for it? And there's a metagame portion of it that the contractors bidding on it have to play in order to remain relevant and also to remain competitive to everybody else who might undercut them. Like, it's like applying for a job at a farm locally and not being able to get hired because you made $40 an hour at one point in your life, and now you're 2 years out of a job and you can't even get a job that somebody who doesn't have a social security number and a fucking green card can. Not relevant. Shut up, Kyle. Anyway. Speaking at an event to celebrate a $100 billion investment, I think we already read that one. Semiconductor manufacturing by the Taiwanese chip giant TSMC. Trump told reporters there was no room left for negotiations with Ottawa or Mexico City over the import taxes, which will go into effect tomorrow. Stock up on your syrup today, because you ain't going to be able to get that maple. You're going to have to buy American, which Vermont is better anyway, but I digress. Next story. This guy doesn't want peace. Trump on Truth Social after Zelenskyy says, into war very far away. Into war is very far away. I can't do Zelenskyy. President Trump has once again attacked Ukrainian counterpart over his into war very far away remark, saying that Zelenskyy doesn't want peace. He doesn't. If he wanted peace, he'd be willing to negotiate. If he wanted peace, he would give us the deal on the minerals, or at least work on it. Not throw a fucking temper tantrum in the Oval Office, you fucking twat. President Trump has a hit out on Zelenskyy after letters... That's not chart language. Oh, hit out at. I said that Zelenskyy doesn't want peace, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Truth has also signaled that he may... You mean Trump has also signaled that he may pull support to Ukraine in ongoing conflict? I hope we do. You don't reward bad behavior like that. Like, every idiot knows that. Come on. U.S. President Donald Trump has strongly criticized Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Recent comments that a peace deal with Russia remains very, very far away. In a post on Truth Social, Trump expressed frustration, suggesting that the U.S. would not tolerate such statements much longer. Yeah, we've kind of been tired of Zelensky's bullshit since it started, really. Zelenskyy made remarks while speaking to reporters before departing from London, where he met with European leaders. He emphasized that Ukraine remains committed to waging the war and added if it does not see an immediate resolution to the conflict. Or added that it does not see... Okay. A deal to end the war between Ukraine and Russia is still very, very far away, Zelenskyy said. However, despite the disaster at the Oval Office, he claimed that the U.S. would continue supporting Ukraine. It isn't exactly clear what the basis of Zelensky's claim is. It is painfully evident to everyone that the U.S. does not want war to continue and wants to mend its ties with Russia. I think we could be friends with Russia. I wouldn't say go straight to friends. I would say be neutral towards each other. Maybe even adversarial to, in a friendly banter kind of way. Like your mom kind of way. Like, when U.S. and Russia team up, we stop the Nazis. We can do this again. I believe that Ukraine has a strong enough partnership with the United States of America to keep aid flowing, Zelenskyy claimed. Yeah, you better hope. Indirectly implying that the American president can't determine what the U.S. should do. No, he doesn't have absolute dictatorial control over his country like Zelenskyy does. He didn't suspend elections when he was faced with a world pandemic or other crisis. As far as I know, we haven't had any journalists killed by order of the government here in the U.S. since Hillary Clinton was running for office, if I remember correctly. So, shut the fuck up, Zelenskyy. You just salty? You mad? Hitting back at Ukrainian counterpart. Trump wrote, hitting back at his Ukrainian counterpart? Trump wrote would be the proper way to say that, I believe. Trump wrote on Truth Social, this is the worst statement that could ever have been made by Zelenskyy, and America will not put up with it for much longer. He claimed that Zelenskyy was reluctant to seek peace as long as Ukraine continued receiving American support. And yeah, why change? Why change if what you're doing is working? If what you're doing is getting you money, keeping you in power, making you sympathetic to a global audience, why the fuck would you change anything that you're doing? In his post, Trump took aim at European leaders, suggesting that they were overly dependent on U.S. support for Ukraine. They are. Europe, in the meeting, said that they had with Zelenskyy, stated flatly that they cannot do the job without the U.S. Yeah, fucking everybody wants to run their mouth until we're not around, and then it's, help, help, America, help us. Oh, America, your dick's so big. Probably not a great statement to have been made in terms of a show of strength against Russia. What were they thinking? Based Trump. Trump has repeatedly called for European nations to take on a greater share of the financial military burden in supporting Ukraine. His latest remarks indicate continued skepticism about U.S. involvement in the conflict. And that's one thing that I feel like gets lost in this, is that the amount of money that we're contributing to these countries in terms of protection afforded to them by our mere presence and state as an ally allows them not to have a military that is capable of defending against like a fucking junior high school aged fucking airsoft team here in the States. Like, y'all want to be, oh, we're so civilized, we're so great, we're this, we're that, we have we have free college, we have free healthcare, we have this, we have that, we have government sponsored hookers that come around and suck our dicks every Thursday of the year or the month. Like, they have all these programs and have this nice standard of living because they aren't paying for a fucking military. Or at least a military that's consummate with what they would need to defend themselves in our absence. So, and instead of saying thank you, it's the fucking attitudes globally towards the United States are generally like, we're some big brutish retard, which, okay, fair. But we're your big brutish retard. Like, yeah, you're gonna fucking say the bully does all these bad things until the bully's kicking your bully's ass. Like, shut the fuck up. It's so fucking two-faced. It's so double-sided. It's ridiculous. Elon Musk responded to Trump's post on Truth Social by writing on X, Zelenskyy wants a forever war, a never-ending graft meat grinder. This is evil. I agree. We should not be encouraging any kind of forever wars. 1984, perfect example. Oceania has always been at war with East Asia. Like, you have this circumstance where life and resource are thrown without care to be destroyed for nothing. We gain no territory out of it. We gain no resources out of it. We gain no reputation out of it. We gain no honor out of it. And so it leaves a really simple question. Why? Why do it at all? And the why do it at all is obvious. Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, GE, all of these companies that we have here at home that make obscene amounts of money off of new and exciting ways to end human life. And Zelensky's indicating that's what he wants to. That's what the last administration wants. That's what the Harris administration would have wanted. It's what the Romney admin wanted. That's what the Obama admin wanted. That's what the George W. Bush. Like, you look back through history at the warmongers that have led this country to record profits for war profiteering and increased instability globally. Where we once were a global force for, if not good, at least not evil, we are now a global force for, you'll use the US dollar as the oil OPEC reserve currency or else. You'll bow to our demands or else. And that works with some people in some cases, but you cannot do that forever. It will eventually, your bluff will eventually be called. You have to be willing to deliver on that evil of destruction in a way that is so complete and total that no one thinks to fuck with you again if that's what you're going to do. Not these half-assed police actions around the world that we've seen since Korea, Vietnam, Iraq 1, Iraq 2, Electric Boogaloo, Afghanistan. Tensions between Trump and Zelenskyy have increased as the Biden-era policies of military and financial aid to Ukraine face new scrutiny. That's an understatement if I ever fucking saw one. The Trump administration has now signaled a shift in its approach, raising questions about how much support Ukraine can expect going forward. 0. That's the only appropriate number. So long as there is a single homeless person in our country, so long as there is a single unemployed person in our country, so long as there is a single hungry person in our country, we should not be giving a fucking penny to anyone outside of our borders. We have a commitment and a duty to the American people first, and then when we help our own, We can better help others, but we have to be able to help our own first before we can go gallivanting around the world, sticking our dick where it doesn't belong, and making enemies where we could have allies. Despite these challenges, Zelenskyy, for some odd reason, remains optimistic about continued American assistance, while Trump's latest remarks highlight that the U.S. is not interested in continuing the war. Fucking A. More tariff stuff. Just a wonderful, happy Monday, ain't it? Honda moving Civic production from Mexico to Indiana in response to Trump's tariffs. I did read this one because I started a shit posting match on the Zuck book. Honda will produce its next generation Civic Hybrid in the U.S. state of Indiana rather than Mexico to sidestep tariffs on one of its top selling car models, a report Monday claims. Fans of Honda cars, prepare to start your engines. The Japanese manufacturing giant will produce its next generation Civic Hybrid in the U.S. state of Indiana rather than Mexico to sidestep tariffs on one of its top-selling car models, a report Monday claims. Reuters reporter Maki Shiraki. Really? Is that really the... cites 3 people familiar with the matter to state Mexico was initially chosen because rising costs were making it rough to produce the car in Indiana and Canada. The outlet continued that now changed since President Donald Trump returned to the White House and said about protecting American jobs and American workers. And give me just one moment while I feed this stupid fucking cat who's scratching at a safe that doesn't even have food in it. Bubs, you retard. I am reading the news to nobody. People will watch it at some point, maybe. If I ever run for office, that's one way to get view count up. Holy shit. Is that Clip always, or Ripaverse always says, monetize your haters. If I ever wanted to really just get a bunch of views at once, I would just announce that I'm running for office. Because, holy shit, there's a reason I call this one political sewer slide. Because it's literally that. The change underscores how manufacturers are scrambling to adapt to U.S. President Donald Trump's proposed 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada. While several automakers have expressed concerns about the levies, Honda's move is the first concrete measure by a major Japanese car company. Japan's second largest automaker has initially planned to manufacture the next generation Civic in Guanajuato, Mexico, according to 3 people. Who are these 3 people? Why are they referred to as 3 people and not their names or their positions at the very least? Did you just find 3 random hobos outside of the production plant in Mexico? Production was slated to start from November 2027, according to one of the people. First, they build the building that we make the cars. And then we get the jobs to make the cars. But then the Honda says it's too expensive, so they don't make the cars. And then we get no money. I'm terrible at accents. What can I say? It's my whiteness. I'm really good at not seasoning my food, though. It now plans to build a new Civic model in Indiana from May 2028 with an expected annual production of around 210,000. Nice. One of the people said, Honda would look to import from nations not hit by tariffs if production in Indiana falls short of demand, one of them said. This one of them said, like, John Doe, Jake Doe, Jack Doe. Like, make up names. But seriously, who are these people? Did you pay like a handful of interns to definitely not pretend to be like... A Honda spokesperson declined to comment on the changes to the Civic production plan when approached by Reuters, adding The company would continue to take into account demand and the business environment while considering optimal production and allocation globally. The outlet further notes Honda sold some 1.4 million cars and trucks in the United States last year, including Acura models. Okay, not sure why that's important. The manufacturer sold more than 240,000 Civics, both gasoline and gasoline electric hybrid models, making the car Honda's second best seller in the U.S. market after the god-awful, ugly, stupid crossover CRV. U.S. sales of the Civic, known for its affordability, rose 21% year-on-year. Company data shows about 40% of the vehicles Honda sells in the U.S. are imported from Mexico and Canada. Fucking old Civics were the shit. Never drove one because I wasn't that guy, but brother had one. They're kind of dumb. Anyway, next. Und was wir hier haben ist, people protest cuts to the National Parks workforce. Not the National Park Service. That's the one federal agency that I actually like. They're pretty cool. They hang out in forests and put out fires and stop poachers and retards. They do the Lord's work in the Lord's land. Trump administration cut about 1,000 national park workers and is hiring more seasonal. That kind of makes sense, though. I mean, I can't fault the dude for doing that. Louisville, Kentucky, people protested at national parks across the country after cuts to National Park Service workforce. Which, really quick, Zion is my background. Dozens of people rallied at Mammoth Cave National Park. What you need to know. People protested at national parks across the country. No number yet about how many of them actually knew what the fuck they were even protesting. The protests were in response to the Trump administration cutting 1,000 national parks jobs. Trump is also adding nearly 3,000 seasonal jobs. According to the National Parks, Mammoth Cave employs about 150 people. So here... Queuing that up for a second. I'm just here to celebrate the national parks and celebrate our park rangers and just advocate for them, said Shannon Graves, organizer of the Mammoth Cave protest. Tell me, Shannon, when people in your community were losing their jobs because the government ordered shutdowns of local and family-owned businesses and let Walmart stay open during the COVID-19 pandemic, were you out there protesting then? I just want to make sure you're being consistent. Although Graves isn't a park ranger herself, she has 2 park rangers in her family. So? If she had 2 rapists in her family, would that indicate she... Never mind. She organized the protest at Mammoth Cave National Park to advocate for nature and those who maintain it. I grew up near Gulf Shores National Seashore, so I played on those beaches as a kid, coming to Mammoth Cave for the first time, bringing my daughter to Mammoth Cave for the first time, going caving in Mammoth Cave for the first time, getting stuck and dying in Mammoth Cave. Seeing it and understanding it, and the vastness and the riches. The Trump administration is firing about 1,000 national park workers. It's unclear how many have lost their job at the Mammoth Cave, but Graves said it might be noticeable in the park. Might. Notice how it's unclear. Might. There's no... Facts, fuckers. Facts. Feels. Feels are there. Facts are there. It's unclear how many have lost their job. Said it might be noticeable. Meaning, we don't really know if it's actually going to matter or mean anything, but we're out here because Orange Man bad. These are marching orders from whoever the fuck is issuing them. Because one thing that's not in their vocabulary is why. Why am I doing this? Why are we protesting this? What's actually going on here? You let go of a significant percentage of the people. I want to know if 1,000 is a significant percentage of national parks workers really quick. Total number of national parks service workers. Oh, by the numbers, U.S. National Park Service, straight from the horse's mouth itself, pages. God damn it. Oh, I got a script blocker on. Oh, this page is currently being worked on. Yeah, funny how that fucking works. Almost like you're editing it to suit a narrative or to scrub data that fucking says you're stupid as shit. That's how many they're losing. Come on, you twat. Know about the layout potential. Statisia from US 2023. That'll give us a ballpark. Okay. Number of employees in national parks and other nature institutions in the United States in 2022, 2023, and forecast for 2024. Okay. So in 2024, there was an estimated 10,628 workers in the National Park Service. Trump is letting go of 1,000 of them. Unless they're just rounding up because it's in your number. Is it 1,000? About 1,000. And it's about 1,000 newly hired. So newly hired would mean between the 10,377 and 10,628 that were hired between 2023 and 2024, taking us back to the 2022 numbers of 9,899. It's almost like nobody actually fucking looks at the actual numbers. It's only 10%, but that 10% has been added over the last 2 years. So it's a wash if you roll back 2 years. I don't think this is the crisis that you were looking for. This is not the crisis you were looking for. These are not the talking points you were looking for. You let go a significant percentage of people. 10% significant? Is it? Is 10% a significant percentage? I wouldn't say it's insignificant, but I wouldn't really... Grace said the cuts need to be reversed because, of course she does, because she knows perfectly what she's talking about. She knows how many people were fired there, even though she couldn't give a number in the last statement just above here. But for now, she's celebrating the workers at Mammoth Cave and all the national parks. So, translate, she's giving blowies to all the dudes there because they're fighting the evil orange Hitler man. It's fucking stupid. Fucking stupid. I want to make sure that these people that are there, those people have their jobs, that we protect them. That they have their ability to fulfill their mission, that the American people, and so that everybody can get out and get into nature, Graves said. At the time, Trump administration said it's planning on hiring nearly 3,000 seasonal workers. According to National Park Service, Mammoth Cave has about 150 National Park Service employees. Not mentioned at all once in the entire article is this wonderful piece of legislation. The only reason I know about it is because I was watching TV while Trump was announcing that he was signing it. And during his announcement, he was supposed to say Yosemite, as in Yosemite National Park, and ended up saying Yosemite, as in, hey, Jew over there, you, come here, basically. Yosemite. Great American Outdoors Act. Bet you never heard of this one. So, can I get the text of it, please? Well, I'll just read the TLDR of it. The Great American Outdoors Act, GAWA, is a historic investment in the protection and sustainment of our public lands and Bureau of Indian Education funded schools. It established the National Parks and Public Land Legacy Restoration Fund to address overdue maintenance needs. It's also permanently authorized funding for the Land and Water Conservation Fund, a separate fund aimed at safeguarding our natural areas and cultural heritage. By addressing the maintenance backlog, it ensures visitor and staff are safe and comfortable as they access our national parks, public lands and roads, national wildlife refuges, and BIE-funded schools. They're excited about the work the U.S. Department of Interior and bureaus are planning through GAWA. Can you show me how much land this son of a bitch sets aside? Because it is, if I remember correctly, the statistic was that Great American Outdoors Act set aside the most land as federally protected lands that any president has set aside since Teddy Roosevelt created the national park system. Meaning Donald Trump, the evil orange Hitler, money at any cost kind of dude, cares more about the environment than pretty much anybody. Go fucking figure. Did the news cover it? Nope. You ain't heard of it. I know you ain't heard of it, because I wouldn't have heard about it unless I had caught the fucking broadcast. But it'd be like that sometimes. Holy fucking Christ, about goddamn time. 15 minutes late starting and actually kind of running kind of long. Crews battle wildfires in North and South Carolina amid dry conditions and gusty winds. Didn't they just get a bunch of rain? How are they dry already? You got the same problem California got? Crews battled wildfires in North and South Carolina amid dry conditions. State it. Headline? Tagline? First paragraph. Can we please fucking stop that? Thank you. National Weather Service warned of increased fire danger in the region due to combination of critically dry fuels and low relative humidity. Low humidity in North Carolina and South Carolina? What the fuck? Hold up. Current humidities, relative humidity map in South Carolina. Holy fuck, that is low. It's in the 20s? Jeebus. Okay. In South Carolina, where more than 175 fires burned 6.6 square miles. Oh, that's cute. Grew up in California. Is it still there? Please tell me it's still there. It is. If you haven't heard of it, there's this wonderful website called iscaliforniaonfire.com. 6.6 square miles. That's cute. Henry McMaster declared a state of emergency on Sunday to support the wildfire response effort, and statewide burning ban remained in effect. Crews made progress containing a fire in Carolina Forest area of west of the coastal resort city of Myrtle Beach. Yes, Aguar in Myrtle Beach. So I'm flogging Molly in Myrtle Beach. Where residents had been ordered to evacuate several neighborhoods, according to Horry County Fire Rescue. Video showed some people running down the street as smoke filled the sky. It looked like it was from California. Except it actually had trees. But by late Sunday afternoon, the fire department announced that Carolina Forest evacuees could return home. The South Carolina Forestry Commission estimated Sunday evening that the blaze had burned 2.5 square miles, with 30% of it contained. No structures had succumbed to the blaze, and no injuries had been reported as of Sunday morning. In North Kakalaki, U.S. Forest Service said fire crews were working to contain multiple wildfires, burning in full force across the state on Sunday. Largest about 400 acres in Uwharrie National Forest, about 50 miles east of Charlotte. Forestry Service said Sunday afternoon it had made progress on the fire, reaching about one-third containment. Small southwestern town of Tyrone in Polk County urged some residents to evacuate as fire spread rapidly there. Evacuations remained in effect Sunday. Decision whether to lift the ban on them was expected to be made Sunday after intentional burns are set up to try to stop the fire from spreading. Fighting fire with fire. Stay classy, North Kakalaki. Fighting fire with fire is a valid strategy. Windy, dry conditions are contributing to the dangerous wildfires that led to evacuations in North and South Carolina, the AP Jennifer's King reported. That fire burned about 500 acres as of late Sunday with 0% containment, according to Polk County Emergency Management Fire Marshal's Office. The North Carolina Forestry Service was conducting water drops and backburning operations on the ground, and area residents should expect a lot of smoke during these operations, officials said. Officials have not said what caused any of the fires. I wonder. It's probably fire. Fire probably caused the fires. Space weather. CME is incoming. Brace yourselves. March 1st, a magnetic filament on the sun erupted and hurled a coronal mass ejection into space. It will graze Earth. Class geomagnetic storm. Look for auroras if you live in the northern hemisphere or northern latitudes. Let's see. Blammo. Wait, where is it? Wait, it should be up here. Is it that? Just that one? Pretty slow one. Now's the best time to look at Venus. Neat. There's auroral oval. Anything else cool here? What else we got? Nope, look good there. Our winds on the planet Earth look pretty decompressed. Mesmerizing. Fucking the shit that blew in over here was wild. It's probably still raging out there too. What do we got? So it's surface, 1,000 feet, or 1,000 HPA. This is just under the jet stream. Ew, look at that low over fucking Greenland. Look at that curve, like, what the fuck? Look at that giant. That's nuts. That's crazy. See, here's our jet streams, vortices. Polar vortex been banished. Gyres there. Neat. And last but not least, the red-headed stepchild of all of it. What do we got? Well north of me. Getting pretty clear over the United States. Scattered showers. If you live in that splotch on the map. I don't know why anyone would live in that splotch on the map. Or that one. Or that one. Damn. Okay, what are these warnings here? Why is the entire state of Texas under some kind of warning? What the shit? Red flag warning. Wind advisories. Neato. Anyway, that's about going to do it. I might do some video games in a little bit. I do not know. I have not decided yet. If I do, I'll see you then. If I do not, then I will see you tomorrow for Tuesday's edition of this, where who knows what the... oh, we're covering the... we're going to live react to the not State of Union, State of the Union. Hopefully Rumble doesn't do its fuck games, and we can actually do it. If it does, though, who knows? Whatever. Nobody watches these anyway while they're live, because, like, I wouldn't.